Hey guys, now we are going to talk about Seneca's work on happy life. Basically, we are going to review this book, the work of Seneca, and understand this, by the way, before you continue watching the video. This is not magic formula of being happy, and also understand this that this book review is one of the perspective of the Stoic philosophers and how Stoics generally view the happiness. So, for Stoics, everything that is against the nature is already a vice, an unnatural behavior. So, Stoics consider that anything that is according to nature is already good and great. So and that's why Seneca tells us happy life is according to the nature, which means that if you want to be happy and have a happy life, uh, live with according to the nature, and you will be happy. And anything that stands against the nature is already waste of time and makes you unhappy. He gives us, in the very beginning of the book, tells us generally that understand this: if you want to be happy, don't follow the masses, don't follow the flock. You have to understand that masses all follow this way because they think that, oh, this is what makes them happy. But what they actually do is they give themselves to vices. And here's, of course, as you know, I make all these notes while I'm reading. And let's, say first of all, what is wise man, because we will need this definition to further understand our conversation and debate about happiness. Basically, for Stoic people, wise man's definition is like this: I do not call a man wise that is overcome by anything, let alone pleasure. So, for Stoic man, a wise man is the man that is not overcome by anything. He is in charge of his life. He is not overcome by pleasure, etc. And for Stoics, they have this simple logic. It is insanity to choose evil over good. And for Stoics, as we already said, good is things that are according to nature, and evil or bad is that is against it, against the nature. Stoics suggest that sometimes real pleasures, lies in despising the pleasure, and they suggest that at some point man should not even take pleasure from virtues. You do virtues because this is according to nature, and you don't take any pride in it, and you're like, oh my god, I just did virtue, and no. So it's like, well, here is it, man. Here is a life formula. And by the way, while we this debate, while we read the book, the author, the Seneca, asks himself these questions and says that, hey, listen, even thought I'm suggesting you this way of life, basically it's like, as you said, wise men don't give himself to pleasures and other vices, right? He suggests that, hey, look, even thought I am not on this stand, and he says in the book, I am not the wise man. I am not the wise man. Seneca says it himself. This is the high standard I have in my life. Basically, when I give you these advices and this opinion, this is the standard of the man should aspire to live. It doesn't necessarily mean that I live in this way, in this particular way. So have that in mind when you listen to this conversation, because this is their way of what you aspire, right? The higher real. And it not necessarily mean that they already live this way. And he says, and he honestly said that I don't live in this way. I am overcome by some pleasures, and to me it's already a good thing to get rid of one vice a day. So here is this, um, you know, and he goes on a conversation of, is this good or bad to be rich, basically, for a philosopher, for a Stoic man, for a virtuous man. And here is this conversation about it. Wise men, basically the wise man that is not overcome by any vices, etc., can do more with riches. riches encourage and brighten up such a man. But when we and there's this philosophical question you can have. What's the difference between wise man and a fool? If I'm a fool, because you as we can see, you both aspire and want to be rich, and here's a big difference. When you are a wise man, your the riches are your servants, but when you are a fool, those riches are your masters. This is two very different thing. As he says, it's wise man does not love the riches, but prefers it because he can excel more. He can excel more in his virtues, in his virtuous doings. He can provide more, be more, do good things, and he doesn't do these good things to receive certain favors, but he does good things because he's according to his nature and his principal morals as a philosopher man. As we say, it's for Stoics, they despise, as we say, Seneca in their book is like, despises the pleasure. He talks about. I mean, he in pleasure probably he means women, slave, etc. Because there is no end to this. It's like bottomless pit, as he goes to explain us. Because you can go on a rampage and have thousands, tens of thousands of slaves. You can have all these riches, all these women, all these boys as your sex slaves if you want to, because in that time is slavery. It's totally possible for a rich to have afford this type of lifestyle, but it becomes a bottomless pit, and he despises because there is no end to your desire. At the end of the day, it's not that you possess that pleasure. It's not that you possess that pleasure and you excel, but you are already possessed by those vices, as Seneca likes to call it. And this is to me where kind of why he despises having sex and this kind of pleasure so much. But for further we can see probably everything should have its limit. You cannot be enslaved by pleasure. As a virtuous man, I totally get it. You have to have your principal morals, and if you are enslaved by it, if you devote your life to these things, first of all, this kind of pleasure or vices already become your master. It's foolish to think that you as a man, as a human being, you can be in charge of your vices. It's foolish. An interesting remark he makes in the book is this: vices are at war against each other. Basically, vices fight each other. It's not the virtues that fight each other, but vices. For example, greed and lust may fight each other, or whatever other vices, because they are not really so-called friends and allied. Friends with each other. They won't dominate more. Basically, if you are taken by lust, greed or other vices want to take over and become number one in your list. So they will obviously fight each other and despise each other. And in the end of the day, about a happy life. Right now I'm reading The Happiness Trap, as you guys know if you following my videos and watching it. So when we make that book review, it takes time slowly. I'm reading that book slowly, doing certain exercise in the book. We will understand next time while we'll make that book review that generally being happy is not our natural state of being. Our natural state of being is to survive. Basically, our brain is wired to just not get killed. So if you aspire to a happy life, you have to really think about it, really study it, and really understand that happiness is not our natural state. And at some point it can be said that if you want to be happy, you have to live according with nature. And but of course this has pros and cons there. But this is a very interesting point of Stoic philosophers that, hey, this is the happy life, right? If you want this happy life, this is what Stoics call wise man. Wise man is not overcome by anything. For example, as it's mentioned in the book as well. Let's say you are in present moment. Understand this when you review Mark Sully's books, right? The only thing you have is a present moment. You don't have anything than that, man. There is, understand this. Here we can say it as a, but there is no such thing as time. As philosophers, we can easily say that. But for us, this is the present moment. Here is the past, and here is the future, right? You don't have any influence over these two. You have only influence on your present moment, right? And let's say in your present moment you are overcome by desire to have lust, right? Lustful desires in present moment. You start to, and your mind detached from you and starts to think about, oh yes, that lust I have right now in my brain. Oh, I want to do that pleasure. So you may think about visiting that woman or boy and of course we are reading the ancient book of Roman times. So in Roman times, people had slaves. Let's say, so I'm looking things with his perspective right now. I want to do this instead of as a wise man will never let himself to think about those stuff. Get rid of that stuff and come back to the present moment and direct yourself to the future, because in your present moment, future gets decided. Focus on you have only this, and as the Stoics have this vision. It doesn't matter if you live 10 or 100 years, because the men that lived 10 years and died, and the men that lived 100 years and died, both of them so the same, essentially the same thing, because compared to vast ultimate span of time, your 100 or 10 or 100 years is nothing. Okay. This marks our ending of this awesome book on happy life by Seneca. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this video to this channel, and like the video, by the way. It's very important for YouTube algorithm. And see you guys. And I don't remember which number it is in 150 book challenge, but it will be numbered in the video. See you guys. Smash that like button. See you.